Hey guys, welcome to another episode of All Bass Creations, Effects, Tutorials, Demos, and Review. Today, we have up the MXR Layers, and this is an amazing little pedal, I have to say so. Has quite a few functions. You really can kind of consider it a multi-effects pedal, really. It has the infinite sustain part of it, which is like the same thing as like the freeze or the TC Electronic has that type of pedal as well. What's going on? Appreciate you hanging out with me. Welcome. Um, and it also has chorus. It has tremolo. It has diffusion. It also has an octave down effect as well. You get you can do layers, up to three layers at a time, or single layers. So you got quite a bit of flexibility with this pedal, and you got that tape delay in there as well, which you heard me playing with the time and different things like that. So let's dive into it here. So, all right, let's start with the functions of it. So we got to hear it a bit there. So the mix knob, of course, blends in the actual effect itself, the wet signal. Your dry signal is usually set with your instrument, and then you mix in the actual effect. Yeah, appreciate you hanging out with me from Spain. Oh, all right. Appreciate it. Hanging with me. Y'all, please hit that like button. I appreciate y'all. Subscribe, like, and share. Appreciate y'all a lot. So, anyway, that's what the basic mix knob does. It brings in, basically controls the volume of the effect. Then the trigger actually is used, if it's all the way to the left, it's off, right? But then there's an auto function. So let me demonstrate that real quick. So instead of using the foot switch to trigger it, it just does it automatically based on how hard you hit the string. So if you see, I have to hit it a certain volume for it to trigger. And I mean, I have to say, it's really good at triggering. And mind you, this pedal by itself, right? So then you got the attack. So the attack is pretty much going to allow you to use like the fade in effect. So you can have, if you turn the attack all the way to the left, it's going to be immediate. Now you really can hear that delay that's in there. This pedal has a lot in there. I mean, you get. Let me just explain something real quick. Well, matter of fact, let me just do these basic knobs real quick so we don't get lost. Okay, so bam, immediate, right? But now you can get it to fade in. You get all those layers. You get 3 layers. And if you had it with the single, it'll move better with chords, with like if you're playing with a group. Let me turn this up a bit. All right, and the decay actually determines how long the layer lasts. So, if mind you, the attack pretty much is the front part of the note, how fast it fades in, and pretty much decay is how fast it fades out, if it fades out at all. Because you can actually turn it all the way to the right, the decay knob, and get infinite sustain on those layers. See, now it's just gonna stay there. So if I wanna, mess with the knob, with the time of the delay, let's play a little bit. So it actually gets you in a whole different territory of like ambient sounds that you can't really get with. I don't know if any other pedal can get you all of that fast. Like you know, and I love electroharmonic stuff, and of course I love my deep freeze. I have my deep freeze on my pedal board now, right here off to the side. You can't really see it, but this definitely has its own thing to it. It's not the same thing. And just for a quick comparison, here's the like my deep freeze on auto mode. My typical sound I would use. Right? Compared to the layers. Totally different type of sounds, right? And right now, what I forgot to say was I have a actual keyboard sustain pedal that I'm using to trigger this, right? So, and when you're using it in what they call desktop mode, it's just you got it on a desktop. That ain't a mode, but you just run a sustain pedal from the control here, output here. And it's just a rolling, I'm just using a basic rolling keyboard sustain pedal. And it doesn't exactly function like a sustain pedal. Maybe I need to, get a different one. I can flip the switch or something. Maybe if you could flip the switch of the polarity or something on a sustain pedal, it'd be different. But right now I have to like literally go against my nature because I do play piano as well. Normally you have to press it and hold it for it to trigger things, trigger the sustain, right? But with this, you press and let go. So I have to do like press and let go. Because if I hold it, it doesn't trigger it for some reason. I gotta turn the trigger off so you see what I'm saying. So watch the light. It's not until I let go. I'm pressing it down. So I'm playing a chord, right? I'm playing a chord, pressing it. It's nothing else happening until I let go. And it catches it. So if I just play a chord, press and let go, it just sustains it. So you got quite a few things you can do with that. But yeah, so we got the basic functions of the sustain. You gotta like I said, if you got the decay all the way up, it'll infinitely hold things. But if you have it just like a little 12 o'clock, it's gonna move a little bit more. Turn the trigger off. Fade in here. Turn off this dry signal. So if I press the single button and turn the mix, that controls the modulation amount, the rate, and the depth. And you get two types of modulations there as well. You get a chorus and a tremolo. So you get some really amazing options with this pedal. Definitely a multi-effects pedal for sure, and not a bad one at all. I mean, is it a multi-effects in a way of that you would take it to a gig by itself as a basis? Probably not. But are you gonna want to have it on your pedal board in your collection? Probably. Yeah, you're gonna want to have it. And I mean, speaking personally, I'm definitely gonna keep it. Eventually, I'm gonna do a little brand shootout. Because I actually have three. Maybe I do three pedals of each company. Do like a little pedal board with just three effects. Like with MXR, the MXR Layers, the MXR Poly Blue Octave, and the MXR Bass Envelope Filter. Those three are three of my favorite pedals. You know what I'm saying? And they all sound amazing in their own right. But all of them together would probably sound amazingly crazy. You know what I'm saying? So that and something like three electro harmonics pedals versus that things. Do something of that nature. But anyway, let's continue. So you hold down single, and that'll change the depth and the rate of the knob of the modulations, right? And you also have on the attack knob, you can control whether you want tremolo or chorus. So it has two different. So right now it's on tremolo. Switched over to the chorus, right? So we just held down a single knob. All the way to the left is chorus. When you turn, so hold the single knob down, turn the attack knob. All the way to the left, that's chorus. Hold down the single knob and turn the attack knob all the way to the right, and you have tremolo. And then you can have anywhere in between. So, you know, now you got a grasp on the modulation section. Let's move on to the delay part of sound, right? And make sure y'all subscribe, like, and share. Hit that like button, you know what I'm saying? One of the first bass YouTubers to bring you this jank. Come on, like, I be trying to get to these pedals first. You know how hard it is to get to these pedals first? You know how difficult it is to get some of these pedals first? What? Like, these people, they send them the pedal. I gotta order it. You feel me? I gotta come out with that paper. You feel me? So make sure y'all subscribe, like, and share. And if this is useful to you, you can hit that Cash App. You can hit that super thanks, super chat. I appreciate all y'all hanging out with me on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and Instagram. If you're on Instagram and you want a better view, you can head over to YouTube. And make sure y'all hit at least that subscribe, like, and share. I really do appreciate y'all hanging with me. And we got the MXR Layers in the house. Let's go. So there I had on also with that sound, I had on a little bit, not a little bit, but I had on the HD Hall reverb on a Zoom B6. So that's the reverb. That's what I said. You're probably not going to want to use this by itself, but you know, if you got a Zoom B6 or an effects multi-effects pedal, you could definitely throw this in your effects loop, right? You throw it in your effects loop and you can manipulate various things, you know, probably run some, maybe experiment running distortion into it or after it, you know, that way you can control the texture. You know, I got a few things here. Let me see. I stay kicking the camera. Look, I'm gonna have to do something about this one day, kicking this camera. Running it into an octaver, right? Additional sounds, but or into a filter. right, so, and again, I am running. Technically, you can do the same thing I'm doing with the sustain pedal with this foot switch here, but when you got it up on a table or something, say you're trying to manipulate the modulations or the delays, you want to definitely be able to reach it. So this makes your world a lot easier. Now, with that same control jack there, you can also use an expression pedal to modulate between, or like not even modulate, you can go between two different presets that you have with it. So heel down would be one preset, and toe down would be another preset, and you can morph in between the two. Me personally, or if you like, so like you can have one setup where you are for you to play, and then one setup so you can do pads, something like that. I'm gonna do some experimentation with it, and I'll let you know what I come up with. You know what I'm saying? Of course, y'all have it on your video because you guys are subscribing, liking, and sharing. And head over to that Patreon if you really want to keep up with stuff. Head to the Patreon. If you want to support the channel, you can do that there very easily. If you have a Zoom MS-60B Plus, I got 20 preset pack for you over there. As well as if you got a Zoom B6, I got you 20 of my presets on there as well. If you have a ToneX One, I just released a ton of packs for the ToneX One. The Gensler, Magellan, Aguilar AG preamp, Eden WTDI, Ampeg SGT. What we got? Lower Mark III. You know what I'm saying? T-Selectronic BH500. Gens Benz Shuttle 9. Got about 11 different preamps available for you guys for the ToneX One series. So head over to the Patreon, check all that stuff out, and just join for free. If you don't want to put up some bread right now, but you will, because I'm doing improvisation courses and technique courses, everything. So, all right, so let's go. Now we get into the delay. So pretty much the single button, when you hold it down and turn knobs, is going to give you secondary functions, and the third layer of functions you can get to by holding down the sub octave button and turning the knobs. So right now we're on the single. So just a recap of what everything is so far: mix, controls, volume of the wet signal. Then the trigger controls how the sensitivity of you triggering the effect when it holds you, you're playing. And then you have attack, how fast the sound fades in. If you have it all the way to the left, it comes in immediately. You have it all the way to the right, it fades in very slowly. Decay is literally not the opposite, but it's the tail end of the sound. So if you want it to cut off quickly, you have it turned towards the left. If you want it to sustain forever, turn it all the way to the right, and it'll sustain as long as as you trigger it. So it'll just hold that joint like that, right? Then, bam. Then, if you hold the single button, right? Now you got control of the speed and the depth of the modulations. Slow, fast, and more depth. Then you can choose between two types of modulation. Chorus. So let's do this. Chorus or tremolo, if you want more of that organ type effect. And you can dial anywhere in between. Get both of them. that decay, because once you turn it on infinite, it mean it ain't gonna turn off. It ain't playing with you. Right? Okay. So we all caught up. Everybody caught up. Everybody with us. All right, we moving on. So make sure y'all subscribe, like, and share if you haven't already. I appreciate y'all. Yes. Let's go. So hold down the single button and move the trigger. Now you messing with the delay time, right? You get that nice tape. It's a nice tape type delay. So messing with the time, pretty much the time of the delay there. Get a nice little tape wobble, whatever. You know, we like weird sounds. We're musicians, guys. Come on, you like weird sounds too. I'm not done. Don't try to make me feel weird. You're weird, bro. I'm not weird. Just like weird sounds, bro. What's the problem? What's the problem? Nah, but I know people. You know, I live in a house, but my stuff be loud sometimes. I know people will never be walking past, be like, "Yo, what he be doing in there?" But yeah, let's continue. So holding down the single button and messing with the decay is going to add that diffusion to your sound. So now it's going to give you some nice. It's going to pretty much. I like to think of diffusion as blur. Like if you were blurring an image, you could control how much you blur an image. Like I kind of look at it like that. So if I want a nice clean image, I'm going here. So, right? But let me turn it. Nice clean image, right? As a matter of fact, I would turn all the way to the chorus side. Right, nice clean image. We're going to turn on the diffusion. a very singing, like almost like a choir quality to it at times when you add that diffusion in there. And as you can hear, it definitely blurs it, but it reminds me of. Right? That's actually the deep freeze, electroharmonic deep freeze, and electroharmonics mel 9 on low choir, right? So it reminds me of those two together, but like in a much more ambient way. Like, of course, I would combine those sounds at some point, you know, having those pedals. But yeah, it has a very, it's like this little singing thing. You could back up a singer with this really nicely. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could do some really nice stuff with it. Turn this dry signal back off. And while we're here, the way you turn the dry signal on and off, you hold the sub octave button and turn the mix knob. So, little details like that, you know, it's kind of hard to memorize all the details, but I'm actually glad they have all these parameters and stuff. Pretty much there's a set of parameters with just the regular knobs. Then if you hold each button, they have their own separate parameters. So, you know, that, and if you hold just before I forget, if you hold the single button and you tap the sub octave button, you can do tap tempo for the delay. So say I had the delay here, I can hold single and tap tempo. Turn the attack off, you can hear the delay a little bit more. So you get that same effect you would as, you know, almost not the same effect, but you know, a little slightly different effect. You know, you get more of the pew pew sound right there. Versus if you do it with the holding single and turn the trigger knob, which plays with the delay time, the repeat time. So slightly different effects depending on how you change the delay time. You know, if you use the tap tempo way, which is holding the single button and tapping the sub octave button, that's the tap tempo. If you want to just change the regular old delay repeat time, you hold the single button, turn the trigger button, trigger knob. So, all right, we're here, guys. We're getting there. So you got the sub octave feature as well. Let me do something real quick because I turned some off previously. So I'm actually going to turn this diffusion down. I'm going to turn the diffusion off just so you can hear the octave a little better. So it's pretty much taking... See, that's the regular. Dropped it down an octave. love that singing quality it has to it. It's just my bass running into it. Everything else is off. Just the MXR layers on. So I actually like the single mode a little more than the layered mode. Just for me, personally. I could see myself using the single mode all the time, especially with the sustain pedal. It makes it feel like I'm using the sustain pedal for the bass, you know, because technically I am. With the single versus with the layers, it's like the layers would be something that I could see the layers being something specifically for a specific intro or something or outro, but on the regular you'll get a lot of mileage out of the single joints on here just because you can move them and they don't get in the way. Even the octave down, it's like it moving with you, versus with the layers it's like it's a little sluggish, and you actually have to, if you're switching keys and you know you're playing chord changes that are changing key centers, it can get a little in there, you know what I'm saying, get a little shaky. But we got on the sub octave there, so it just drops everything down an octave. Another feature, one of my favorite features of this is one that I love about the OC5. If you have an OC5, you can have it trigger only the lowest note of your chord. And the way you do that is you hold down the sub octave button and you turn the attack knob to the right. So, oh, that's beautiful. That's delicious. That sounds so good. And that's why is it sounds like it tastes. It's like dessert. It's like I just ate like some amazing pastry or something, or it just is. Why does it sound that good? And mind you, like I said, I ain't taught the MXR. I bought this pedal for myself. Why does it sound as good by itself? Like they jam packed this with a lot of features. So you get a sustain effect, which is like a delay effect within itself, but infinite sustain to your sound. You get tremolo, you get a chorus, you get delay, you get diffusion, and then you get a ton of options even without having a ton of buttons. That is very well. This is very well done. And let's just stop and appreciate the build quality on this thing. You know, in a world where everybody giving you a plastic pedal these days, they still on a hardcore metal, you know, long lasting body of a. That's how you build an effect. This joint ain't going nowhere, and it's got a beautiful sparkle paint job, just like the poly blue and the bass envelope filter. You know, it's got a really nice. I'm sure it's not showing up on camera, but it's got a nice sparkle paint job. That's very good. I like that. Has the same knobs as the poly blue. It's also stereo. You can have this stereo in and stereo out. So what you would need is something like this. This is a TRS cable. I don't know if you can see it, but it has two of the black rings here. That's a TRS cable, and it splits the left and the right channel. You know, left channel, right channel, and you can run this into the pedal, bam, into it, or you can run it out, bam, this way, right? So the input, you have to change the input to stereo, you have to open up the back of the panel, flip the switch, turn it to stereo. For the output, you can change it from right here from the top of the pedal, which is awesome. And you do that by holding down the sub octave and turning the decay knob. Now, I'm not going to do that right now because I'm not running in stereo, but that's how you would do that. And this pedal sounds amazing in stereo. It really, really opens up like balloons. I'm going to do a separate video with it in stereo mode just because I have to open up the pedal to turn it on, But I figure most bass players, we probably just plug in mono. Most bass players' rigs are in mono. So I wanted to start here, and then I'll do, a more comprehensive stereo version. Like, I'm not going to do a whole nother review of this, but, not getting paid to do this joint like that. You know what I'm saying? They got to pay me to do another one. But I do want to do a second dive into it with it sounds in stereo, so I'll also do a video on that as well, at least. So I think we literally, okay, so I told you the sub octave, you want to turn on the, if you hold that button down, you can turn the mix knob. That's your dry sound, right? You can, gotta turn the effect on, sorry. You can turn your dry sound on, turn your dry sound off by just holding the sub octave, turning the mix. Then on the trigger, you can actually control how much of the dry signal you're sending to the delay. So if you don't want any dry signal going to the delay, you would just turn it all the way to the right. And then see, now it's not going to the delay. So if you got options there too. And that's pretty much everything. So again, just a quick run through of all the functions. Make sure y'all subscribe, like, and share. Please hit that like button. It definitely helps me out. And if this really helps you, you can hit me in the Cash App or super chat. Definitely appreciate everything. Definitely appreciate y'all hanging out with me. I like this joint with the dry signal off. It makes it feel more like a synth. Like, it makes me feel like I'm getting into that synth territory more. Turn this attack so it moves a little bit more. You just use the mix knob as like your volume knob, right? So unless I was going like solo and play over the pads, I would just turn the dry signal off. This is me, because I would want to, if I was going to loop it, I wouldn't want the dry signal. I want that sound. You know, using it almost like a organ, like an ambient organ type thing. You know, I would run it into the MS. Even if you just run into an MS-70 CDR, this joint in the MS-70 CDR is a mean ambient machine. Let me see what we got here. So I'm guessing, like my I don't know why I just did that. I turned into Johnny Gilder. Well, my personal favorite settings would probably be like a slower modulation speed with more on the chorus side, not all the way, just mostly on the chorus side. Single mode, sub octave mode, both of those on, with the root, what they call it, root note sub octave mode on. So just only the root will be, drop down an octave. So. So now I got plenty of bottom in there. You getting the whole movie score out the joint. Mind you, I'm not running an octave, I'm just running the shimmer reverb into the hall reverb. So I'm actually using two reverbs on the Zoom MS-70 Plus, right? So right now, all you heard there was the MXR Layers and the MS-70 Plus, right? Just running the hall reverb, the shimmer reverb plus into the hall reverb. So, you know, between those two pedals running together, mind you, you can take the layers, turn it into stereo, run stereo into the MS-70 CDR, and then run that stereo, and then you got a huge stereo image with running with those reverbs and everything that this joint got going on. You get a massive sound. So I like the decay there. Trigger off, so all the layers are now being triggered by me in the sustain pedal or the foot switch. Double tap turns it off. And no dry signal running into the delay, but I'm going to turn the dry signal back on because if I want to play over it, right, now I can do all of that stuff. And I'm going to use the HD reverb in the Zoom B6. So if you have another unit, this is just the layers running into a nice hall reverb, basically. Yeah, and I like that attack around 9 o'clock because it allows it to move a little bit better with you. With the decay, if you want the sound to be really snappy moving with you, you just would turn the decay down. But I'll take the decay around 1 o'clock. You know. And as you can see there, like now you got, it's going to hold that forever because you triggered it. It's still got that nice organy type texture to it. Allows for a really nice pad there. But is this going to be something? Now, this is not something that is an immediate thing for you to go get. If you don't have any other pedals, this is probably, not going to be your very first pedal. With that being said, is it a very fun pedal? Yes. Am I going to use it on a lot of stuff? Yes. Um, so would I recommend it? Basically, yes. I think this is an amazing little pedal. The same way the Poly Blue octave surprised me. I wasn't expecting that to be as good as it is, but it's become a part of my staple. MXR just keeps kind of surprising me lately. Like, I kind of always thought of them as your standard, they got chorus, flanger, just standard stuff. But when you really think about it, MXR has come up with some legendary effects and stuff. I use Jim Dunlop stuff in general, like the power supply as well, the ISO brick. So, this joint is fire, dog. Like this is a little fire pedal. If you between this and the deep freeze, let's this is so let's check out my normal. This is like my normal deep freeze sound I go for. Right? Totally different than this type of sound. Mind you, they both can be, they're both very flexible. Both can be very flexible, but this has a lot more features than the deep freeze does. I will say that, but the deep freeze does that unique glissando mode, which Electro Harmonics is known for. You know what I'm saying? They're known for that glissando. They have it on this, the deep freeze. They have it on the Super Ego Plus. They have it on the Hog 2. I think they just put it on the new Pog 3. I think so. I think they have. I thought I heard a glissando on their mode, but yeah, it doesn't have that, but it has the diffusion. It has chorus. It has tremolo. Has delay. Like, it has an octave in there. Like, come on, like this joint is a action packed little unit. And really, if you want to get in the ambient territory, all you need to do is take this, throw it into a reverb, voila. You really don't have to do anything else to get in that ambient territory, literally. And even if you don't want to trigger it, you can just set the trigger of the, the threshold of the trigger. But see, it's really going to depend on that decay now. So that decay, if I turn it on really long, it's going to, it can get in the way. Especially with that sub octave, or if you're doing layers. Oh, here's another little quick tip. If you're going to do layers, I would suggest do the first layer with the root note in there, right? And the octave button on, so like this. But then do the next one. Let's see, because I don't know why is it so. Right? If you keep it in there, it's gonna get too muddy. But do the next one. Right, without it. So the other ones, just do the first layer with the octave down on, or whatever the bottom layer of your voicing that you're going to do for that chord. Do that with the sub octave, the root note sub octave on. So it just does the root, and then turn it off. This is why it's good to have that expression pedal we were talking about before, where you can have two different settings. You can have one with the sub octave on your heel down, and then on the toe part, have the note octave down. That way you can be layering two different sounds, without getting muddy. Like, so, first layer. got the bottom in there. Next layer. Next. Doesn't get nowhere near as muddy. I'm trying to keep it from, let's see. Right? That's with no sub octave on. With the sub octave on. Down, turned off. Now you got a really nice chord there. Big bottom. And you can literally have this sustain like that forever as long as you wanted it to. So, say I was using the actual trigger foot switch. And I would do, if I was going to do it like that, I would just, let me see. So I would have did something like this. Let me see, turn the dry signal off, trigger off. So I turned auto off basically, and I'm going to use the sustain pedal. That's just me putting too much volume in there from my actual bass signal. I just got to pull my bass signal volume back a bit. But you get the point, right? Right? I will say it does have a learning curve to it. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like this ain't smooth, easy. Like the Electro Harmonics Deep Freeze doesn't really have a learning curve to it. The freeze doesn't either. Like the Electro Harmonic Freeze, you just kind of, that's even worse. You just step on that. The real caveman. You just step on that and it holds your chord. But the Deep Freeze, has a layered mode as well. So it'll stack your sound infinitely as well. But it doesn't have the external foot control for an actual sustain pedal or top tempo switch, something like that. And it doesn't have, the expression pedal mode, as well as you can use this control out, which is really cool. This is a really cool feature. You can switch this. It's a switch here that allows you to flip it from expression pedal to I think it's wet. What is it? Wet dry mode. Oh, it's audio. So pretty much you can use this control output there to straight up run that out as an audio signal. So now you can split your wet and your dry signal up, and you don't. That's kind of crazy. You wouldn't never really thought about it, but they could just do that with a lot of pedals. Hopefully, they. The problem is this joint is it has so many little features. You really do have to have a manual around when you first doing it. But I like the single mode a little bit more. And I probably would, if I was gonna play with it, I mean like have my dry signal too. Oh, I got it on infinite. I was like, why is it not? All right, here we go. You just use the sustain pedal to move it along with you versus, I think the sustain pedal part is really, really nice touch to it, along with all the other features. But the sustain pedal, use an actual sustain pedal with it, just kind of like elevates the experience for me with the pedal. So, make sure I hit that subscribe, like, and share button. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. If this useful to you, go ahead, hit that Cash App or that super thanks. I definitely appreciate y'all. If you're on Instagram and you want a better view, you can head over to YouTube at the Bass Negus, Negus. So, all right. So, what do y'all think of this pedal here? Like, let me know in the comments. Let me know what else you want to see me do with it, because like I said, I'm gonna come back and do a stereo version of this. Well, not version of like I'm not going through all these features again, but I will go through some new sounds hopefully, and I'll do some more experimenting with it in stereo and come up with some different things. But for the most part, once you learn how things are adjusted, if you hold down a single button, that pretty much controls the left side controls the modulation, and pretty much the right side controls the delay type feature. So, because that diffusion pretty much is like from the delay effects, like it's part of a delay effects diffusion. This in the way they're using it. So, right side, if you're holding the single down, left side is modulations. You holding single down and turning. The right side, that's going to be the delay type effects. The bottom is going to be pretty much blur. It's diffusion, but just think of it like blur. And the trigger is going to be the time. of the in between repeats. Now, sub octave is going to be like all your utility type functions, like muting the dry signal on the mix side, or changing the sub octave function. How that's, in stereo with the decay if you're holding this sub octave down. And you also have the dry signal to delay. So, and don't forget about the top tempo, holding single down, tapping sub octave. And then again, you can use a sustain pedal or an expression pedal. Sustain pedal triggers it the same way the foot switch does. Expression pedal gives you access to two different settings: heel down, toe down, two different settings. And then you can open up the back plate if you want to run this whole thing in stereo. And you just need one of these or something similar, which is a TRS cable going to split into, these are just 1/4 inches here. And that's pretty much everything. And then you have, if this button isn't, the single isn't pressed, then you have 3 layers at a time. If it is pressed, you only got 1 layer, and it's moving between a different layer. So that's pretty much everything with this pedal. And it seems, it can be intimidating. When I first got it, I was kind of like, I can't quite get to the sound I was looking for, but you definitely have to have that manual in front of you when you first get this joint. So you first get it, get a manual on your phone or something, and just keep it on page 6. And that'll keep you with your secondary functions. Everything else is self-explained. You know what a mix is. You know what a trigger is. You know what the attacker is going to fade in is. And, you know what the decay is, cutting off the end of the sound, making it short or longer. So the rest of this, you kind of, until you're used to it, just keep that manual in there. And most of all, do not be scared to experiment. Throw this joint in front of stuff, throw it after stuff, see what it feel, what it sound like with stuff running to it and you holding it. Like, say you got some synth stuff you want to try and sample and hold, try that. Don't get stuck in one way with it. I would say experiment running effects into it and effects after it. Typically, you can stack a couple more delays right after it and run that into a really big reverb, and that'll give you some really ambient type drone type sounds. So I'm gonna give you some more sounds next time with the stereo version, but I'm just giving you guys some ideas on how you can use this thing, because sometimes you see pedals and you're like, it sounds nice and I like the way that guy's using it, but how would I don't even know what to do with that thing. So those are some things you can do with that thing. I'm trying to think, did I miss anything? It's running on your standard 9-volt stuff, you know what I'm saying? Standard 9-volt power supply. Other than that, yeah. So make sure you guys subscribe, like, and share. Please hit that like button. It definitely helps me out a lot. And like I said, if this is useful to you, hit that Cash App. Definitely helps keep me ahead of the curve, keeping up with some of the bigger YouTubers and getting this stuff early. The budget get tight sometimes, you feel me? You know what I'm saying? But you guys definitely can help me out with that, as well as head over to the Patreon. If you have a Zoom MS-60B Plus, I have 20 of my personal presets on for sale on my Patreon, as well as the Zoom B6 has a pack on there as well of 20. I also have 11 different preamps of different variations available on the ToneX One on Patreon as well. It can be on the ToneX software, the big ToneX pedal. It'll work for all of them. But those are different packs. So some packs have a lot of tone models. Some of them have just 2, but they all are priced accordingly. Excuse me. So definitely check them out. And if you're a ToneX One user, they're going to be super useful. And if you're a Zoom user, those presets are going to save you a ton of time of programming, synth sounds, bass sounds, like studio sounds. I did a little bit of everything in there, even some pads, all within one unit, So definitely check it out and join the Patreon for free if you would like, and that way you can keep up when I come out with new stuff. Or if you want to support, you can join for $1 or $5 at the moment and just help the channel out. And I'll be coming out with an improvisation course. I'll be coming out with a bass technique course and a music theory course. So I'm going to cover all these different things that'll help you. I think I might do a gig like survival course as well. But check me out when you get a chance. Subscribe, like, and share on all the platforms. I appreciate you over on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. I appreciate all you guys. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.